Yo. I am excited today. Today I am pumped up because for two reasons. One reason is that this episode is for the hustlers, y'all. This one's for the grinders. I'm talking about those that get up every day and they say, my 9 to 5 is just the daily grind. My real job kicks off at 5:30 with all my side hustles. Like, this is for my people that are out there on their lunch break getting it. My people that are sitting around talking about, I'm going to run this place one day, Janice. If you keep trying me, you are not going to work in accounting when I get there. I am going to climb this ladder. This one is for my hustlers. So welcome to another episode of Learning Manhood. I'm excited. I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad to have you here today. I'm glad that you're spending time with me. I appreciate you, brothers. I really, really do. Y'all have no idea how much it blesses me to see that y'all enjoying this content. Y'all enjoying spending some time with me. So thank you. Bless you. I'm excited. The second reason I'm excited for today's episode is that if all goes according to plan, at least some of it is going to be on YouTube. We're going to see how much actually makes it there. But we are trying to get this recording game going. I got this camera sitting right in front of me. I'm still working on being able to talk to the camera and read my notes at the same time, but we're going to keep it funky. We're going to make it happen. So for my hustlers, for those of you that listened to that intro and were like, yes, this is me. This is what I'm talking about. This is how I get down every day. I've been waiting for you to talk about getting after this cake, getting after this grind. If this is you and you are like me, then we both probably got the same problem. We have terrible work-life balance. Now, I know that's a little bit of a letdown. I was like, man, we was in here hype about the hustling, but then we're going to really talk about my biggest weakness when it comes to getting after it is I don't have a really good balance for my day-to-day, for the things that I want to get after in life, and then for making sure to take care of my family. And so today, I know everyone's going to catch some strays. I know it is, and that's okay. And I promise you it's going to be okay, because today we're going to not only talk about the importance of balance, I'm going to give you some biblical foundations regarding balance, and then I'm going to leave you today with some practical steps to achieve that balance. And the fun part about today is that I've been studying a lot of Proverbs, the book of wisdom, and today all my verses come from Proverbs. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna keep it funky, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. And hopefully by the end of this, we will have had an opportunity to really grow and understand not only why we need balance, but how to begin to achieve it, because we constantly say that we need it, but we don't know what the next step is. So I'm gonna start this off with, the year is 2021, right? I have just launched a business called ICE Digital. I am in debt from all the classes and courses and resources that I needed to launch this business, but I'm on a mission. I am up at like 4 a.m. trying to get after these clients. I'm trying to build these products. I'm taking calls with prospects while I'm at my day job. I'm working on the back end data when I get home. I'm pitching, creating, building, selling, buying, calling every waking moment of my day. And why? Because this is my third business by this point. I'm determined to make this work, and I'm determined to make it work for real, because I've now created a business that was built around a whole bunch of debt, just trying to launch this thing. And I was trying to prove to my family, prove to my wife that this wasn't for nothing, that I wanted more for them. And at the time, money was my guide. So I was up every morning getting after it. And I remember so clearly that my wife was initially proud of my tenacity. She was proud that I was getting up and getting after it and not settling for where we were sitting. But after a while, she began to notice something. It was like a Sunday afternoon. She was off for work, and she poked her head in the garage and was like, hey, are we going to see you today at all? Or you just going to be in the garage? And at the time I was like, no, I'll be in a minute. I'm just getting after this thing. I got a couple more calls to do, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to hang out. I'm going to come in and I'm going to hang out. But in truth, this was the beginning of the end and the start of a lot of arguments, because I felt like she didn't understand that I was actually just trying to get after it, to provide a better life, to bring more money, and to get this debt paid off, to truly show that I knew what I was doing. But she was looking for me to still be a part of the family, not just some dude grinding in the garage that, came in for more beer and dinner, right? She wanted to be present and functional. And I'll keep it funky with you. Like I did not listen. I was not in the space to hear what she wanted at the time, because the one thing I wanted was my ego to be satiated with a successful business. And it took me a long time to understand the imbalance that she saw. And she saw it early. And it took me having to realize that my kids were growing up without me to really see it for what it was. And I didn't even pick that up for a long time. And even long after my business eventually went under due to, my own poor mismanagement, but we ain't gonna go there. We ain't gonna everybody's catching strays. So I'm gonna catch us too. I'm gonna catch you too. We gonna keep it funky. So due to my own poor mismanagement, the whole thing went down. So all that time I spent doing that instead of being a present husband and father was wasted. It was wasted. I can't even say that it paid off. I can't even say all that hard work paid off. Now, granted, there were lessons that I learned. There were skills that I picked up and that I gained that I've been able to use since then. However, nothing is going to compare to the fact that that's time taken away from my family. So I want to get into some of these biblical foundations for balance, right? My mom used to say that if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. And to me, has always been a funny anecdote to remember, to be flexible in planning for when God moves in your life. And it makes me remember that I should be asking for God's planning and praying over every move that I'm making, right? So I say that specifically because usually when I quote this, it's to remember, to always be ready to move, to be ready to shift, that your plans are always subject to change. And since I'm the type of individual that hates it when my plans change, it's something that I have to think about often. But looking at it from the other side of how I need to start my plans with God, I need to start there so when things are prepared to move and shift, they're not so dramatic. That can really lead to really achieving some balance. The verse I have here for this one is Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Prioritizing God in our plans ensures that our work and family life is aligned with his will, because he's not going to get me to plan to do things that aren't going to be aligned with making sure that I am also doing the thing that he wants me to do, of taking care of my family and being a present and open father, right? And so that gets me into my next verse, which I really like. And I wanted to do this one first, but I needed a preamble to jump into it. So Proverbs 24:27, put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house. The importance of planning and prioritizing tasks to ensure both work and home life are properly managed. Now, I'm going to read that one more time before we get into what my explanation really looks like for this is put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house. What is your outdoor work? Your fields are designed to provide a harvest, and they're to be worked first because they will sustain you long term, right? While you're building this house, your fields can be putting in work. Your fields could be growing the harvest in which you're going to be fruitful on later. On the other hand, your house is designed to shelter, protect, and comfort you. It's where you live and enjoy the benefits of the fields. So I'm looking at it like your field is your personal work. The work for our family, the work for our loved ones, spending time pouring into them, loving on our family, spending time with our family. Those are the dividends that are going to sustain you long term. On the back end, your job and your side hustles, or what you consider your real purpose in life, will be built on the fruits of that love. If us as men are able to love our wives like Christ loves the church, everything that we build outside of that will have that foundation of that love. So when we get our outdoor work in order and make sure that our fields are planted with love, we then begin to get back everything that we need to sustain the building of the house, the building of the money that we're after, the jobs that we're after, the things that God has for us come from us growing that love in our household. So that one, I really want to hit on, and I really hope that you take some time to digest a little bit, because it's important that we make sure that we're investing our time and energy in the right places. The money gonna come. God did not give you this gift to hustle for nothing. The money is going to come. The only thing that's going to change here is if the money is going to come with you having people that you love to spend it with, or you got the money and broke and by yourself. But I'm gonna leave that at that. Next verse I have for you is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Now, this leans heavily into trust, right? Trusting God is the key. Like we just talked about prioritizing your family and that outside work to the inside work of the house. That's going to take some trust. That's going to say that because that's against conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom is telling you to spend all your time, pouring your time and energy into whatever it is that your thing is that is going to generate the revenue that you want, and not to invest it elsewhere. But here God is saying that we need to invest our time in our families to make sure that we reap the harvest that is going to be bountiful for us to then go forth and build upon our houses. So trusting God is key. Even like we said, with prioritizing your family over your hustle is hard, but you not only have to pour into your family to build that stuff up, but think about what God gave you as a helpmate. Those of you, my brothers out there that are married, those of you that are out there looking for your wife, he gave you a helpmate, and her job is to help you. Do you think your spouse is going to be more keen on helping you get after your goals if she doesn't feel like you have a connection with her, or she feels like you have been pouring into her? One of the things that I've truly began to appreciate as I've been growing and learning in my own level of balance and learning how not to be that guy in the garage trying to get everything done without worrying about what the heck is going on in the house, is that now when I say, all right, guys, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go to the garage, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do that, my wife's the first one up, like, all right, guys, dad's off limits for the next however much time he says he needs to get this done. So she is then being my helpmate and protecting that space for me. We're going to talk about these practical steps because one of them I really want to get into is about systems that you put in place. And systems are what really help you truly achieve the balance that you're looking for. But trusting God is key, and making sure that you can lean into him to trust, but listen when he speaks. Because oftentimes to trust is going to be to put faith in him when the conventional wisdom is telling you to do something else. But I've got 5 practical steps and one, I guess, bonus step, the one that I think is the most important, that I'm going to save for the end. But the first thing is to set clear boundaries. I'm going to go through these steps, give you a verse and understanding where I'm coming from with it. But what I want you to do is all these verses that I'm reading off today are going to be in the show notes. But depending on if we make it onto YouTube or not, we're going to be in the description. However, I want you to take some time to actually go back and read these things for yourself. That's the whole point of me putting these verses in here. You should never take my word for it. You should go read the word for yourself and see what you interpret from it. So to set clear boundaries is the first practical step. The Proverbs 4:25 and 27, let your eyes look straight ahead and fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the path for your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn to the right or to the left. Keep your foot from evil. It's important that you set boundaries for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You've got to draw lines. You've got to have, hey, I'm going to do this between this time and stop from there. And you really want to make sure that the money that you're after is not money that you're selling yourself for, right? We're learning how to be men here. We're not learning how to take our hustle and turn it into being detriments of the society, right? The next step I want to give you is value diligence over busyness. This is something that I fell victim to a lot. It's like where I'm busy doing a bunch of tasks that aren't going to get me anywhere, but I'm not getting anything really done, right? I'm busy, but I'm not producing. And that comes really when you don't have any direction for what it is that you're after. And if our direction here is to make sure that we are cultivating a space where we are balanced at home and at work, you have to be diligent about it and not just busy. I also fell into the trap of, oh, I have to do this at this time, which means that you guys and the kids, you have exactly 36 minutes with me before I go off and do this other thing. The verse for don't fall into that trap, because the first thing my wife used to say was, oh, like your family is now part of a checklist. And that's a whole nother conversation we can have. Because honestly, men think that way. We think about the tasks that need to get done, but I digress. Value diligence over busyness. Proverbs 12:11. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense. Focus on the diligent, meaningful work rather than simply staying busy. This helps achieving productivity without neglecting family time. This happened when I would sit down and say, okay, I'm going to go do this work. But then I spent 15 of my 30 minutes allotted, quote unquote, doing research, just looking on my phone and not actually getting work done. I was busy, but I wasn't doing anything. The next step is avoid overcommitment. Now, this is one where we have to learn to say no, and we have to learn to understand why we're saying no. We're not just saying no because we don't want to do a thing. You have to be able to say no to things you want to do, but understand you don't have bandwidth for it. There are things that I would love to do. I'm looking forward to being able to take Learning Manhood on the road and go and interviewing more people and having conversations. So you're not just sitting there listening to me all day. I want to get you to get an opportunity to hear other people's perspectives. But that requires me to take up some of my free family time to do that. And right now I'm not prepared to do that. So I have to build a system in place for that to avoid overcommitment. The verse for this one is Proverbs 23:4. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Do not trust your own cleverness. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. You know how many times I would crash into bed after long days of working ICE Digital, trying to make that thing come off the ground. I would make a sale only to lose money, make a sale only to lose money, and crash just trying to be rich. Never made it. Never made it because I was overcommitting myself. The next step that I have for you, number 4, is practice rest and renewal. You don't understand how important it is to get adequate rest. Like, I'm doing character study on Jesus right now, and one of the things Jesus was known for doing was taking breaks. My man had this ministry going. He had these 12 dudes following him around. At any point in time, he had crowds of people following him around. And then Jesus would be like, yo, I'm going to go sit down. I need a break. And oftentimes I wonder, it's like, man, we have all of us that are sitting here that are quote unquote part of this culture of people that love to get up and get after it, right? We're all hustlers. We have got this hustle culture that's this very anti-break, anti-sit down. It's like, oh, we'll break when we make $1 million. We'll break when we can do it in Fiji. We'll break when we can, do it on a bed of 100. It's like, you've got to have an opportunity to rest and renew your body and your mind. And especially if you're trying to raise a family while you're doing this, you have to take time to rest with your kids. You have to. There were times where my kids had bothered me enough that I finally took them to the pool. And what was I doing the whole time the kids was at the pool? Instead of watching them and having a good time with them, I was on my phone making phone calls, trying to get sales, trying to make deals happen. And I was not resting. They saw me not resting, and then they saw me not being present. So you need adequate rest to maintain your mental and your physical health. A well-rested individual can manage both work and family responsibilities more effectively. The second and last one before we go into my favorite tip here is seek wisdom and counsel. Proverbs 15:22. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Read your Bible, find your mentors, listen to Learning Manhood podcast. Holla at your boy. You always need to be looking for someone that can give you some counsel, give you some ways to look at things that you might not be looking at them already. You need someone that's going to fact check you and just sanity check the things that you're doing. Like, yo, just hear me out. This is what I put in place to get this thing done. How does this sound? 9 times out of 10, someone that you have in your corner that's really there for you will tell you the truth and say, you're messing this up. This is how we fix it, right? You need to build those people around you. That is very, very, very important. You need to have a tribe of people around you that you can trust and that can hold you accountable, because we are all learning manhood together. The last tip that I want to give you and the last practical application is something that I've been kind of touching on with each one of these steps, but it's systems. You need systems in place, because if you do not have systems in place, you are going to fall victim to your own mindset. And let me explain. I am still developing all the systems that I need, right? But you need certain systems in place to protect the time that you need to get things done, especially if you are doing a regular day job and then doing side hustles at home, right? So, for example, I have to leave work at this time to make sure that I go pick up my kids, get them home on time, so that way we can do dinner, we can do bath time, we can do hang out, we can do family things, put everybody to bed on time, right? And so that time at work is a protected time. Between this time and this time, I have to leave. That system is in place. I have to leave to get the rest of my evening going. The kids will be in bed at a X amount of time. If I choose to then want to spend more time on anything I want to do extra, that is on me and my wife. However, to drop down my anxiety about the things that I really want to get done for the podcast, for the ministry, I set aside time specifically for it. That's the kind of systems I'm talking about, right? I get up at a certain time and I work on the podcast. I work on the ministry. I work on what I'm writing, what I'm reading. I work on it during these hours. After that, I'm off to my real job. After that, I'm off to coming home and spending time with the kids. After that, I'm making sure to spend time with the wife. If I have more time, that's when I fit it in. And then I will take a day off. I'm like, hey, while everybody's at work and everybody's at school, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record a bunch of things. I'm going to work on a bunch of editing. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to write. I'm going to read my word. Systems in place are what is going to help you balance. But you have to know where you're falling short. You have to understand, I'm not spending enough time with the kids. I'm not spending enough time with the wife. I'm not taking the wife out on dates. I'm not doing things that I need to do at home. And then you need to start from there. As house being the most effective thing, most important thing, we need to start from there and then build our systems around it. Now, those are the kind of the issues and the things that I'm going through when it comes to balance and making sure that I am keeping up with being the man that I am supposed to be. Like, it would be detrimental if I spend all this time trying to record you guys information and read my words so I can deliver it all to you, only for y'all to find out that my house is in shambles, right? That's you've got to have that balance. And that's something that I'm actively working on every single day. Now, I got a little bit of encouragement for you. Proverbs 16:9, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Encouragement to trust in God's guidance for balancing work and family is important, right? I want to encourage you. That's what I'm really trying to get after here. I want to encourage you. Every day that you are making the attempt to balance, you're doing good. Now, you have to get better at it. You have to hold yourself accountable to get better at it. But every time that you are making the attempt to balance, you are doing what God asks you to do. If this blessed you or if you know another hustler that doesn't know how to take a break, or if this was something that you just found mildly entertaining, I encourage you to do your boy a solid. Share this with somebody. Send this to somebody. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hang out with your boy, send me an email, hit me up on Instagram. All that stuff is in the show notes where you can connect with me and talk to me about what we're doing next. Um, if we don't make it to YouTube on this episode, I hope we make it to YouTube on the next one. Either way, I've got a lot of content planned for you guys over at YouTube, so you guys can go over to the Learning Manhood podcast on YouTube and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Right now, the plans are that we're going to be doing Bible studies. We're going to be doing reviews of some of the books that I'm reading. We're going to have, of course, we're going to have the visual cast of the podcast on there. And then we got a bunch of other content that we want to deliver that is strictly built around the idea that you can study your Bible. Here are the resources to do it with, and you can have a good time doing it. You can keep it funky. You can have a good time and learn how to read your word for yourself, because that's what learning manhood is all about. Getting the wise counsel, but then going back and learning it for yourself. So that way you could then share it with your household. But that is all I got for you guys today. God bless. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next.